So this release was always a funny one to me. It's the itty-bitty girl who thinks she's a big old woman, and the guy who's clearly overcompensating with a giant, large 14-foot sword. But we had the release of Sephiroth and Eiko's EX Plus. Well, Eiko's EX debut and her EX Plus, as well as their level 70 awakenings and Eiko's rework. This is gonna be awesome. I love these two. Sephiroth, he may not be my favorite villain, but he's a part of the Final Fantasy VII franchise, and everyone knows already just how much of a big fan I am of that series. Considering, if you take a look, most of my level 70s right now are all Final Fantasy VII characters, and I love Eiko. She's just funny to me. I love the fact that she's in love with Zidane, and she's just so forward about it. It's funny. I like it. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start off with the small girl herself. So Eiko did get a rework upon the release of the CPU raid. Her smite did get a big touch-up. It now keeps the same amount of brave races as it does before, but it just has multiple hits in it, which is really nice. Increases the brave damage potency, has overflow and whatnot. Lots of great things and everything like that. Her HP regen is actually pretty good too as well. It's still the standard fare. It doesn't have any hits in it, but it will actually raise the HP by a small amount upon its initial use, and then raise the HP even further based off of, I believe it's 10 or 20% of the damage that she deals while applying the same buffs as she does before. Her auras did get a nice touch up and everything. I believe 70% attack is her highest aura stat, which is really nice. Her EX in its base form is a 3-hit alternating EX that inflicts the Holy Imperil and gives Eiko access to the double Holy ability, which is basically like Vivi's double fire, except this one has splash damage in it. And it hits pretty hard. It actually does hit pretty hard. And, the double holy is accessed through her HP attack plus, which her HP attack plus she does get through her EX plus. Everything considered, her EX plus gives her access to her frame buffs at the beginning, access to all of her buffs at the beginning of the quest. Terraforming will now actually hit up to 6 times higher overflow and whatnot, and kind of the rest is just pretty much standard fare. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Her C65 will actually give her a recovery of both of her abilities, which is awesome, because on paper, Eiko only has 12 ability usages. So getting the ability to recover any abilities at all is incredible. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it for our small girl. Is Eiko important for the Chaos era? So what Eiko brings to the table is a lovely amount of auras. They all work really well. They're very powerful and they're very potent. She has HP regen almost like no other. She has very powerful HP regen, as well as almost all of her attacks. Well, actually, 2 of her attacks supplying a good amount of HP regen to the party. So you keep her on the team, and she's going to be keeping you alive, pretty much. She does do some decent damage, and she has pretty good battery built into her kit as well. Her cons, though, however, is in the as for damage. The fact that her EX is an alternating EX with split damage, I did forget to mention that before, it has split damage amongst multiple enemies. It does kind of hurt a little bit. Sure, it follows up with a pretty powerful plus with double holy, the Holy Imperil to help increase your damage output. But as it stands right now, we don't have many characters who can take advantage of that Holy Imperil until we get the likes of Yuri. It's going to be about another month from now. But even then, he only has Holy and 1 ability, and that's pretty much it. And it's kind of unfortunate because we won't really have the way to fully abuse that until Alexander's Ultimate Trials comes out, which is going to be quite some time down the road. So she's really going to be the only one taking advantage of the Holy Imperil, which is okay because she kind of needs to take advantage of it, considering that her damage is going to be on the lower end. But Not only that, it's just all of her damage is pretty low, and even with her C65, you do need to make sure you are not blowing through her abilities, as she will run out pretty quickly. You will find yourself relying on the HP attack plus more often than not, and since her EX is a slow charging EX, you'll find the possibility of you losing out on that Holy Imperil before you're able to reapply it that EX of hers. So there's just a few things you just have to be sure that you're cautious of about Eiko, and how does that affect her accordance with Chaos Arrow. As a support unit, she's really incredible, but as it stands the way it is now, I honestly feel as though that she's not really power creeping most of the supports that we have, and while she does bring some really impressive stuff to the table, I do think it is safe to say it is a safe pass. I do believe Eiko is not important for the Chaos Era, and that's not to diminish her kit by any means. It's just Eiko is the kind of character who's like, oh, you're not going to be 1 or 2 months down the road and go, oh, damn, I really wish I pulled for Eiko. I really could use her right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not how it's going to be. Eiko is most definitely a phenomenal character, but she's not really power creeping anyone that we have currently in terms of support. So you're not really going to find yourself regretting passing for her. So no, I don't believe she's important for the Chaos Era, but if you do choose to scoop her up and build her up, by all means, you are making a good choice anyway, because I do think she's great. I, for one, am very happy I pulled this EX. I'm going to get her build up and going because I love the girl. 3 out of 3 is definitely the way you want to go. You definitely do need to make sure that you're taking advantage of that 3 out of 3, because that's the one that gives her the multiple hits. More damage. That's pretty much it. She just needs that more damage to really start shining. But that'll do it for Eiko. Let's go ahead and jump over to that 14-foot boy, Sephiroth. So Sephiroth did not get a rework upon the CPU raid, and quite honestly, Sephiroth doesn't really need it. So it's kind of all the same stuff before. What does his EX Plus give? More damage. Do you think I'm kidding? No, I'm not. His EX Plus, everything considered, gives him access to Overflow with Black Materia. He starts out the quest with 2 stacks of Genova and Reunion automatically up, and his 3 out of 3 gives him access to 30% overflow increase to all of his abilities, which is pretty nice considering, you know, Octaslash has a ton of overflow in the first place. His C65 is attack. It's literally just called attack boost. It raises his attack and max spray by a little bit, which is pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So with all of that, how is our big boy for the Chaos Era? Well, he's not even a big boy. He's got a big sword. That's it. How is Sephiroth for the Chaos Era? So pretty much Sephiroth's EX Plus and level 70 Awakening just made him viable for the Chaos Era. The extra damage that he gets is phenomenal, and I also did forget to mention before, he does get access to an HP Attack Plus, which is a 3-hit single target HP attack, 120% overflow, which helps him out a lot with longevity, because now he has an HP attack that's worthwhile to use, because it actually does hit pretty hard, and it does a lot of hits for an HP Attack Plus. So you can find yourself using that a little more often than not. But also in the same form with Eiko, you want to make sure he's keeping those stacks up. So you're not really going to find yourself utilizing the HP attack all that often. And you want to make sure that Reunion stays up as well, because if that goes off, that's a pretty big spike to his max brave, and you're losing out on the additional effects that Reunion gives to you. So you want to make sure that you're still using his abilities in a good moderation, so you're popping off that EX fairly often, and it is a slow charging EX, so you kind of see the pattern here with these two. Excuse me. Yeah, and other than that, Sephiroth just hits hard. He doesn't bring anything special to the party besides the speed drop that Genova offers to the enemies. He's a very selfish unit. He's not helping the team and by any means. And because of that specifically, he does get power crept fairly soon. The damage that Sephiroth brings is incredibly high, especially if you get him maxed out and going. The damage that Sephiroth will be doing is phenomenal. But we're going to be getting damage dealers in the relatively soon, as a matter of fact, that do more for the party and almost the same amount of damage. So while Sephiroth is one of our highest DPS units currently, we're going to be getting some DPS units that just offer more to the party as a whole and do a little more than just straight up damage than Sephiroth. And because of that, he does get power crept fairly quickly, and I think that gives us our verdict, guys. Sephiroth, unfortunately, is not important for the Chaos Era. While a phenomenal character to boot, it's just, I wish he did more for the team. I wish he was able to give more functions to the team, do a little bit more, help out the team a little bit more, besides just that speed drop. But besides the speed drop, everything else he just gives to himself. And we're going to be getting characters in the likes of 8, Gao Gao, hell, we can even toss Zack into there, because while he is a tank, Zack is just incredible in the terms of damage, and you already know what Zack brings to the table. Golbez, actually no, Golbez is another selfish unit. Let's see who else. That's all I can think of on the top of my head right now, but we're going to be getting other damage dealers in the month of March as well that just put Sephiroth down. It's just like you're not really going to find yourself choosing Sephiroth over these other characters most of the time. So unless you're a certain friend that I know, Sephiroth is going to be finding his way to the bench relatively soon. He is power crept by he is going to get power crept by a lot of our DPS units that are be coming out in the future, just solely for the fact that he's not doing anything for the party. If he had any party features whatsoever, I believe Sephiroth would have been important for the Chaos Era, because the damage that this man deals is just astronomical. Especially since he is one of the hardest hitting shared damage EXs in the game currently. Yeah, Sephiroth, yeah, he does a lot of damage. And you know what? That in of itself can be enough to warrant bringing him on the team, especially if you bring 2 other support characters with good auras to supply to the party to make up for what he lacks. So you can use Sephiroth. I'm not saying you can't, and even when these characters do come out, then you cannot use Sephiroth. It's just kind of, why would you? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm still going to be using Sephiroth myself, because you know how much I love the FF7 cast, and I think Sephiroth is a great character. Alright, and does a ton of damage, and I'm going to be having some fun with that. But if you are looking to pull specifically just because you need the DPS, give yourself some time, wait for other DPS units to come. Hell, actually, I can't even say Golbez, because Golbez applies the Dark Apparel. And, you know, that can work well with some units, but even still, he's increasing his own damage, and the damage he does is just fucking incredible. Anyway, so, but, yeah. Unfortunately, Sephiroth is just not remaining the king of DPS for long, and it's just not because someone's going to be doing more DPS than him, it's just because he's not doing much for the party, and that's pretty much it, unfortunately. If you do choose to build up Sephiroth is a favorite of yours, and you're digging into this banner regardless, and you want to have Sephiroth built, much like myself and 2 other buddies of mine, 2 out of 3 is a safe stop. I would definitely say 2 out of 3 is a safe stop, but if you 3 out of 3 is a great way to capitalize on that extra damage that the 30% overflow will be giving to the party. But 2 out of 3 is a safe stopping point. It gives him access to everything else. And the overflow that he already has on Octoslash is pretty potent. The only one that would be getting a boost from that really is Fervent Blow, because that doesn't have any overflow currently. So that would help out that skill a ton, but hey, it's not really all that necessary. And you can find yourself just safely stopping at 2 out of 3. But if you want to capitalize on the damage that he offers to the max, go ahead and get that 3 out of 3. But that'll pretty much do it for these 2. Yeah, like I said, Sephiroth is a great character, but so is Eiko. It's just they're not really doing much to keep them in a top spot for long. Eiko doesn't even reach the top spot, unfortunately, but they're both phenomenal characters, both great. The verdict for both of them, unfortunately, is a no, especially with everything that we have coming this month. But again, if you do choose to build them, Sephiroth is a safe 2 out of 3, Eiko is a 3 out of 3. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. The speculation video for RNA will be put up shortly after this one. I'm pretty much just going to go immediately recording back to back. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to start talking about the RNA speculation. So both of these videos will be put up relatively at the same time. So if you're watching this one first and you haven't seen the RNA one being uploaded, it'll more than likely be uploaded by the time that you're done. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one, which will be the RNA one.